Hey guys, it's Craig at Area 419, talking you through the installation of your new tactical one-piece scope mount. As we begin this process, the first thing we're going to do is open the box. These have a locking side on them, so if you can't seem to pop this open simply, turn this dial. If it's north and south, it's unlocked, but if it's east and west, it's locked, so be aware of that. As we open it up, in the box, you're going to find your tactical one-piece scope mount. You're going to find a T20 Allen key, as well as a small dauber of blue Loctite. We'll show you when you might want to use that as we go on. The first thing we're going to do is get out our scope mount. Really no tricks to this other than your Picatinny section that's installed here is going to go forward and everything else kind of lines up from there. The tools I'm using, I've got a simple Fix-It-Sticks T-handle with a T20 in the bottom, and then when it comes time to set my torque, I have an adjustable torque wrench. I could do the whole thing with the torque wrench, but I like the convenience of the little T-handle as I go here. So as we mount this, the first thing we'll do is put it on the action. I'm dry mounting this in this instructional. If you like wet mounting on your scope base, it's something we like too, but isn't a necessity. We cover it in the install of the match scope ring, so if you're interested in seeing that, we'll have a link with this as well. But as we get to install, I'm simply going to loosen the 4 screws in the bottom of this that hold the mount on, and we'll place it onto the rifle. An important part of optic mounting is understanding how far forward you want your optic to be. We're not going to cover that in this video, but pay attention to it. So as I go and set this, find a nice spot on the rail, important things as I start to tighten it down, I want to make sure that I'm firmly in. Sometimes you can get a mount that's kind of on funky. Make sure that it's nice and down. And as you begin to tighten, make sure that you have a little bit of forward pressure on the mount. On the side of the mount, you will notice there are numbers here, a 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. We suggest you tighten in a sequence like that that allows you to walk in all of these things in kind of a straight line. So anyway, we're going to set it up there, get on the mount, and we're just going to get a very basic amount of touch on all 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now there's no real pressure here. We've taken them to the point that they don't want to freely move anymore. Everything's forward, and getting the mount onto the rifle is truly that simple. Now I'm going to come back. The base screws are set to 36 inch-pounds of torque. First one in. One, 2, 3, and 4. Those are set, and the mount is on the rifle. Pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to go through and remove my caps. As I remove these, I'm going to take just a little bit of care to make sure that I keep them kind of in the right spot. So I took that off. It's going to go right back on. And if you get these flipped around, you know, one of the rings back and forth, it's not the end of the world. I've got both caps off. I'll now bring in my optic, set it down. At this point, I've got a little bit of travel back and forth if I'm still setting eye relief, if I haven't made sure to appropriately set that, obviously, with where I put the base. At this point, you would also be interested in leveling your optic. We're not going to get into that again in this video, but if you're leveling the optic, you're going to do it between now and when we start to get torque on these. So, got the optic in. I'm going to set the caps straight back down. And in a crisscross pattern, so corner, 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 I will begin to get get all of these screws down into the base. I'm not making anything tight here. Just letting these kind of go down until they start to stop. And again, with virtually no pressure on the optic from the screws, simply having the caps on. If you've gone through your leveling process, You may want to, again, fine tune this. You'll have quite a bit of grip on the optic now. Like I'm kind of, even with no stress here, I'm struggling to get it to turn because of the way that we final bored these. So you can really dial in your leveling. Once you've done that, you're going to take your adjustable torque wrench. I'm going to move it to the appropriate 18 inch-pound setting. And in that same kind of star or crisscross pattern, I'm going to walk these in to the point that I get my final torque. One, two, three, four. I will repeat that on the rear. One, two, three, and four. Now that we've got all this mounted, I wanted to go back and address the blue Loctite that's in the package. It's important to note that this is blue Loctite, not red. Some people want to use red on things because it is permanent. That's a poor idea, mostly because it is permanent. Blue does a good job in helping screws or other fasteners stay fastened and makes it a little bit harder for them to walk out. If you want to use this, the way that we suggest you use it for ease of use purposes is as you are attaching a screw to a hole. So before you maybe put a cap down, you can put just a tiny dab over each of those holes before you set the cap down, and that's going to get you a small but appropriate amount that's going to work its way into your threads. Again, this is not a bad tool. It's a useful tool if you use it in the right ways. A little bit goes a long way. You don't need more and more and more. You'll typically run into more problems and help when you start overusing the product. But a little bit of blue Loctite on certain fasteners, if you are worried about them walking out, is not a problem at all. Just be careful to not overuse, and specifically don't go grab the red out of your tool cabinet to use. Guys, that's how we install. That's what comes in the package. We have built this to be an easy to install, easy to use, robust, repeatable system with a lot of versatility for somebody that wants to set their rifle up in a certain way. We think you're going to love these, and if you've got any questions about what we've done here or something to do with the mount, drop them in the comments below. And until next time.